Oh, you did? You opened that one? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Any questions?
Come on, supporters.
Good afternoon.
Come on, stand up here with us. Oh, there's some of the supporters.
Here she is. Good afternoon. I'm Pastor Alan C. Overton from the Coalition for Clean Water for the City of Flint. We're going to open up now for any questions, if you have any questions in reference to what just took place.
Well, what just took place?
The Coalition just filed a civil action against the City of Flint and the City of Flint administrator. Basically, we're seeking a preliminary injunction and a declaratory action, trying to get some relief and require the city to go back to Detroit until such time as they can prove to the residents that the water that we are consuming is safe and clean for our consumption.
So you want them to shut the water off right now and switch back to Detroit? That's what the injunction says?
Immediately, correct.
How would the city be required to show that the water is safe and clean?
Through the regular standards. Right now, they're not in compliance with the EPA's requirement for the locational quarterly testing. They have to pass that testing at least 4 consecutive tests in a row. They failed 3 out of the last 5 tests. And until they can prove that they can meet the standards, then we should not be forced to drink the water. The city residents are the only people in the county that are being forced to drink the Flint River water. The Flint plant is not up to par. There are a lot of recommendations that were made even from the city's expert, Veolia, that they hired with the recommendations. They've not complied with those recommendations. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done to bring the plant up to par, in addition to addressing the quality of the water that they're serving us.
The city says that the last 2 water tests, they have passed it actually, and that those faults are coming out because of the 4 test average. Are you not saying that? Is that what you're hearing? I mean,
what I'm saying is the EPA requires that they have to pass 4 in a row. So they can say they've passed the last 2. I haven't seen the last one. It's not been released to my knowledge. But I do know they did pass the February one. So as of now, until they pass 4 in a row, which is the standard, then they have failed and they're not in compliance. And we should not be required to drink water until they are in compliance.
what's the next step for this situation now?
We have
just turned it in. I mean,
right. It's been filed. The city will be served today, and we have a motion to discuss our preliminary injunction on the 15th at, I believe, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
The city claims it'll cost $12 million a year to go back to Detroit. How would you propose paying for this change?
Right now, we're not looking at any type of long-term agreement. We're saying that this needs to be done on an immediate and an emergency basis. The city of Detroit has come forward and made it very clear that they are not requiring any type of commitment from the city of Flint. They're willing to do it on a short-term emergency basis with no obligations and no strings attached. So we're saying until they can satisfy the requirement and prove to us that the water is safe and clean, we know that the Detroit water that we've been receiving for the past 50 years that gets treated down there at a plant that's proven itself, that's safe. So until they can prove that it's safe here, we want that water. We want to be treated like the rest of the residents in the county of Tennessee.
That's right.
sometimes the wheels of justice turn slow. If they do get these 4 quality, these 4 good tests in a row, is this a moot point?
It could be. It just depends. Only thing we're interested in is the quality of water. We're saying we deserve safe, clean water. And beyond that, there's another issue about it being affordable. But that's not our issue right now. Right now, we just want it to be safe and clean.
And then what data or what information are you using to declare that the water is not safe and clean other than the failed test?
Oh, it's plenty of data. It's data that residents have been going to the city council on a weekly basis, showing jugs of brown water, yellow water. They've been going, showing rashes and talking about the illnesses that they've experienced from drinking the water, loss of hair that's going on. So it's lots of evidence that's out there. In addition, the city cannot deny that they're not in compliance.
You notice any change in the taste in the last couple of years?
Yes. Many residents have noticed the taste, a change in the taste, and they're still noticing odors in the water. Not only that, some of the residents are now experiencing high lead and tin. There are other things, copper being found in the water. So there's a structural issue as well as a quality issue. It's a lot of issues that need to be addressed. All we're saying is don't make us drink water that you can't prove to us is safe. And we don't think that's too much to ask.
The city claims there's infrastructure problems with aging pipes, broken pipes. How would going to Detroit water improve those sort of problems?
Those problems did not automatically appear once the Flint River was turned on. So if those are problems that needed to be addressed when we were receiving Detroit water, and yet we did not have the problems that we're having today.
Who is the lawsuit suing who on the city?
The coalition is suing the city of Flint and the city of Flint administrator, basically because she's the superpower in the city of Flint right now. So she has the authority. The Flint City Council passed a resolution that said they wanted the city to do all things necessary to turn back over the water supply to the city of Detroit, and the city administrator has completely ignored that resolution by the legislative body. So all avenues have been exhausted. They've protested, they've cried out. There's nothing else that they can do but turn to the Court of Justice and hope we can get some relief here.
What's the name of your coalition again?
Coalition for Clean Water.
And who's in charge? How many people or how many groups are part of that?
It's about 7 or 8 different groups. If you get a copy of the lawsuit, you'll see all the groups specifically named and the representatives of those groups.
And who represents that here? Who could speak?
They're from all different kind of groups.
Water Beach Fight is all right here.
Okay.
Pastor Overton represents the
Concerned Passions for Social Action.
Yes.
I represent the coalition.
Okay. What is it frustrating that you had to go this far to get the legal system involved?
Certainly, we've met with Lance and we got no relief, and this is our last time.
And you're still hearing the same thing from your constituents, your friends, neighbors, that they're having problems with water.
Correct.
And what do you wish it would have turned out differently?
Oh, we know it could have turned out differently. They could have turned this around a long time ago. Let me just add, they do have to get the quarters of the drinking water. Our problem is they cannot get the system water. They'll get 2, they'll get a bad one, so they start talking. They cannot get it straightened out, and the best thing for the citizens of Flint, they cried out for the last year and a half to go back to Detroit. They're the ones that have the right to have clean water. We're doing this for the citizens of Flint, and it's only fair and right that the city of Flint management leadership go back to the Detroit water. We do not have these problems previous to going to the Flint River. We need to go back to get the people clean water.
Even through a few rounds in the city so far, do you think it's being different right now?
I didn't get the question.
Even through a few rounds in the city organization so far, do you think this is going to turn out any different?
I don't know where I was going to turn out, but we got to try to find out how it's going to turn out. Someone needs to tell the city of Flint that the citizens of Flint deserve clean water. And it's not fair that they're playing games with the city of Flint. They're talking about the case. Yeah, everything changed because they're trying to figure out how to fix this problem. But Detroit already had the problem. Give the people clean water.
Can you say your name for me?
My name is Pastor Alan C.
Spell your last name.
O-V-E-R-T-O-N.
Attorney Trishelle Young, TRACHELLEYOUNG.
And just real quick, you said a couple weeks they got to turn. They're going to get served today. And then how do we find out, or when will we find out a court date? Or what's the next step as far as the process is concerned?
Well, they will have 21 days to file an answer to the actual complaint. But we have a motion in front of Judge Heyman on the 15th. So they'll have to appear of June.
Oh, I'm sorry, June.
Yes. Basically in a week and a half.
And could that at that time be eventually, could the judge rule at that point?
Absolutely. We're asking him to rule at that time. And you ask, is this another go around with the city? The problem is the city has the power. So the city has been making a decision on what they feel is in the city's best interest and not the residents' best interest. Basically, it's been the fox watching the hen. There's no win there. So we had to take it to another arena where we at least have a chance.
What's the status of a possible class action suit?
I'm not involved with that.
Is there anything else that you think we should know about the lawsuit? I mean, I think we'll be able to get copies of it, right?
One other thing, you asked a question in reference to all the facts we have.
Yeah.
The city of Flint has brought in companies to come into the city to tell them that the way they're treating the water is not properly. We've had someone come in also to tell them the way that they're treating the water is not properly. They cannot treat the water. They're not experts in treating the water. That's one of the main reasons why we need to go back to Detroit and not accustomed to it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Are there copies of the lawsuit?
We have one copy.
Okay.
Can you email them out at all?
You can email them out. If you give me an email address, I'll get an email to you. Because Fox 66 was the first week here, I'm going to give the one copy that we have to Fox 66.